Hello everyone, this is Duke, and welcome back to Resolute SMP. This is episode 18. We are nearing the finish line here. It is interesting to think about, especially knowing where we started and looking out over everything. It's fun to know that even though the server just started at the end of January, there's so much amazing time that's been had over a lot of this, and I'm really thankful for the group, and I'm really thankful for being able to be in a position to play with so many amazing people all the time. I do honestly mean that, and I think what better way to show that than today's project, which I don't know. I've wanted to do this since the beginning of the server, and I didn't quite know how to do it or quite to what extent to do it. But that is building a giant dragon skull, which is the logo for the server, actually. I just kind of felt like it was time. I couldn't let the server wrap up without building one, and I just felt there was an opportunity to kind of turn it into a little bit more of a memorial. Not a memorial, oh my goodness, we're not dying. It's a monument. Okay, that's better. But we're actually gonna build it right through in here, just behind Nate's house, because I figured this was a kind of a good location, pretty central. You know, you can see the town hall and the inn. We have a bunch of houses, Gorb's Tower, RSOC's Tower. I mean, the shopping district's over there. Gonna miss my house. Do really like this house and this tree. Wish I could just pick him up and plop him into a different world. I mean, I really do like how that turned out. But I figured a Resolute monument inside of a park here, kind of sitting out back in this big open area, I think will do us quite well, and just kind of honor the group in one more time, kind of before we wrap up. I hope everyone enjoyed the time lapse there, kind of getting in the main part of the build today, which is this giant dragon skull seated on some deep slate. Pretty happy how it turned out. First of all, I'd like to mention that the jaw and the eye and a lot of kind of this back portion here was taken from a Minecraft schematic I found online by a user named Crimson Torch. Kind of throw up the difference between the two models here. I did do some editing, so I feel a little bit better about it, but obviously without his work, I would not be where we are. So, kind of tried to make his look a little bit more like the Resolute Dragon, smoothed out the nose quite a bit there. There was like another hump. The horns in the back were a little bit differently, tried to match ours, and then a lot to do with the black placement kind of on the top of the skull there was a lot spikier. I kind of liked the more smooth version again for ours. A little bit of difference with the cheeks and the front as well. But overall, I think he did an absolutely fantastic job on the jaw and the eye. So I wanted to keep that through and bring it here to ours. So we were able to go out and get that done with a couple changes to kind of make it fit our world. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Before it completely goes dark here, you'll see that it is on a little bit of a platform, but the platform itself is hollow, and I've dug out an area in here because this is where I want essentially a memorial. I keep saying memorial, monument to go. So right on in here somewhere, I suspect we'll kind of do a thing. I don't exactly know how I want this. It's only in my head, so it might be completely awful. Some sort of thing where we have armor stands kind of in here, all showcasing each of the members. And we have 6, so we could realistically do a little pyramid like this. I don't know if that works. I mean, I was thinking, on one hand, we could have this, but then it like centralizes 2 people. Where if we just have 6 on a line, kind of de-emphasizes anybody having more of the group. Because really, I want it to seem that everybody's on the same level. I mean, that was kind of a thing I tried to do, but we'll figure that out. For now, I will be expanding the park a little bit here, and we're actually going to go quickly sleep in Nate's house. Oh, just completely missed that. Because I need to show you kind of what the idea about the entire rest of the park area is right now, because I took down a couple trees, and it's just kind of empty, and I feel like if I explain it ahead of time, we'll kind of have a better opportunity to figure it out. So, first of all, I realized that we probably should add in some foliage around Nate's place, kind of to act as a little bit of a barrier here. So I've gone ahead and added these basically shrub lines that wrap around his place, but I've also considered expanding that out into the rest of this location. So we have this whole shape to work with for a park, and I started running this down the path, and I kind of really liked how it looked. So I believe I'm going to go through the process of bringing it all the way around the park. We'll also have a slightly different path design for in the interior of the park, because as much as I do love this, I want to put some emphasis that this is kind of like a secondary walkway. And then we'll kind of come in with some custom trees, hopefully, and fill out the rest of this thing, because I believe there's a lot that can be done in this space. It's obviously quite a large space, and I don't want to overshadow the dragon for any reason within the confines of the roads. So we'll have to figure out exactly what we want to do. A lot of space to work with, and it's kind of a blank canvas right now, so I'm excited to see where we go. Our next step will be placing all of these willow trees in and around the location of the park itself. I chose a willow because it's a little bit shorter than the actual dragon skull itself, and I think that will allow the focal point to stay on the skull, which is really good, because I really want it to kind of peek out. I want you to be able to be over here and look at it. And when you may wonder why that matters, because the server is ending, but I do plan to have at least some sort of world download available for everybody, so they're able to come check it out and see what we've been up to. And can we stop doing that? Okay, I like the zoom to a point until it's too much. But I thought a willow tree was a pretty good idea. I've seen them a lot in cemeteries and memorials and such. And even though I've considered this a memorial like 8 times and it's not, it's a monument, I feel like a willow made a lot of sense. So I just came up with this in a creative test world. Semi-happy with it, so we're going to roll with them. And I think when there's plenty of them dotted around, it'll work. I went with a willow because rather than just custom oak trees or custom jungle trees, since the biome actually completely blends right here, I figured if we're going to have one tree over the entirety of it, then a custom tree that doesn't necessarily follow either would work a lot. And it brings through kind of the oak leaves, oak logs with the hanging leaves of a jungle tree. I think it's pretty good idea. Maybe I'm full of it. I'm probably full of it. But look at this. There is the very old sheep farm down here. I guess this is a part of the memorial. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I think we may go mostly just with a path block path. Path block path. Wow. Great ideas here, dude. But I just feel like it's simple and it'll work, and I can beautify it, make it a little bit nicer so it doesn't look like this too much. But I think a lot of this is just going to be production from now on. I think design-wise, I kind of have a good feel for how I want this area to look, and I'm going to get to that. But before we do that, I would just like to point out the Cobblemon series is doing incredible right now, and I'm very, very thankful for that. I feel like I don't talk about the success a lot. I normally talk about, this didn't happen or something, but sometimes you just gotta focus and be proud of what has happened. I feel like I don't do that a lot. So thank you to everyone who has supported me through that series so far. There's a lot more to come, and with Resolute wrapping up, like I've mentioned, there's gonna be a lot more of that. So really, really excited to see where Cobblemon goes, and what else we've got on our plate, I don't know. You will see in the future. And with that, the Resolute Park is completed. Let's just take a stroll through it, see how we're feeling. We come around. There's our first shot at the skull itself. Very nice. We have a lot of willow trees around, and we have a lot of these 2 high tall grasses mixed in with some flowers. I think it turned out pretty good. It's very, very cozy, even though it's like wild in a sense. I think you still kind of understand that you're in the middle of town, because every now and again you get a poke through one of these trees of a build or something off in the distance. Down here, of course, we have a little bit of a water feature right at the end. I should probably add lily pads into there. I think that would look quite a bit better. But of course, again, some more views of the builds just kind of behind the skull here. And I left this area alone because if we come up here on this little platform across from Night Fox's house, we have a patch of sweet berries, our little strawberry fields here sitting up on the hill, kind of mirroring what we have going on there with the wheat. But I wanted to leave at least one view of the skull open in its fullness, and I really think this kind of works. So we have all of the willow trees kind of dotted around behind it, and they really create this kind of moment here where you have a full view of it. You're surrounded by color. You can kind of see down into the areas a little bit, but nothing is obtrusive. And actually, it does a really good job here, almost, except for the taller buildings, of blocking other projects in and around here. And I think it really emphasizes this, which is really cool. Of course, you can barely see the top of my house, but Nate's is over there. Mine is just like right behind it. Of course, if Gorb Tower and RSOC and Z's house were a little bit shorter, it would basically fulfill that, right? We would only have the focus on the skull itself. But either way, I think it's really cool, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Just walking through here now it's a vibe, I gotta say. I really enjoy it. For a penultimate project in Resolute, I'm feeling really good about it. But let's see, who would have an ender chest? Ignore the hearts I lost. But we do actually have an idea for our final project. And no, it is not 300 and all of these anti-RSOSC posters that Miney made. Absolutely awesome job that she did this. I actually had a clip from when her and Alex pranked me, but I don't have it. They do. I think it's on one of their channels. Go check it out. It was over in the shopping district. It had to do with these posters. It's kind of a good way to go out with it, because I think that's the last thing we've done on that front. Of course, there's my skull itself. But one of these, of course, is the blue one. Look at this. A full chest, a full shulker box of diamond. And then we have a stack plus 12 more. So the idea is, if you recall from an earlier video, I talked about how I wanted to build with diamonds before the season was over. Well, that's what we're doing in the next episode, and that is exactly why today's project is the penultimate build. We have a park that was created today. You can just kind of see it right over top of the hills there. But we're going to do something else in the next episode. I don't exactly know what this is going to look like yet, but we're going to use all of our diamonds. It's going to be a big, wonderful accomplishment, and I'm excited. But hope you all have enjoyed today's video. We have a lot more coming on the channel, maybe some changes in the future, but you'll just have to keep an eye open and see what we get up to. But I hope everyone has had a good day. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Duke. Bye-bye.